Hello, 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 everybody. It is so good to see all of your digital, non-existent faces in the chat. I am Connie. I am your GM and executive producer behind this here shindig Transplanar RPG. We are an all transgender, people of color-led, 100% homebrew Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition live-streamed actual play campaign set in an original, non-colonial, anti-orientalist world. You can find me on Twitter, Itch, and Patreon at ByConnieChang. Just look above my head right here, BYCONNIECHANG. Yeah, this is the main thing I do. Other than that, I am working on games. I am a professional GM. I produce things. I appear as a guest player on other people's podcasts and streams. So give me a follow on Twitter at ByConnieChang if you want to stay tuned to everything I do. And I'm going to pass along introductions to Lyra.
Hello everyone, my name is Lyra. I use they, she pronouns. I'm the artistic director of Shout, Minnesota's trans and gender diverse voices. Transgender and gender diverse voices, which is an all trans, mostly me-led trans choir based in the Twin Cities. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Shout Minnesota. That's lowercase sh, uppercase OUT, Minnesota with 2 N's. I also stream here on Twitch, but not really that often. Check me out at Rika Honda. That's Rika, and Honda like the car company. And I was going to shout out my gig tonight, but that's been postponed, unfortunately. And so with that, I think I'm done, and I'll pass introductions on to Erica.
Hi everybody, I'm an Erica. She, her pronouns, and I play Vinak Churzo. You can also find me anywhere on social media that I exist at Erica New Girl. Been doing a lot of art lately, friends, a lot of art, so go check that out sometime. And you can also find me here on Twitch. I am a full-time Twitch streamer at Erica New Girl. Play a variety of things. I've been playing Resident Evil a bit. I do art sometimes. Or like yesterday, we just chatted for a few hours and had a cozy little stream. So come hang out sometime. It'll be fun. And with that, I will pass it on to Max.
Hello, I'm Max. I go by they, them pronouns. I play Dewey Quirk. And if you want to follow me on, I guess, Twitter and see the one post I retweet every month, you can find me at Starchmonger. I will pass it to C.
Hey y'all, my name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I play your local taxi... Anyway, I play Oka. I am a professional dancer. I'm so sweaty because I just came from a gig. So here we are. You can also find me doing lots and lots of gay and trans art on my Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr at PieSharpArt. Am I going to open commissions eventually? I don't know. Am I going to continue to make multi-piece huge things of art, in which I will not post anything until I post literally 14 characters sitting in a puddle together? Yes! Doesn't matter. You can find me there at PieSharpArt. I also sometimes stream, although I haven't in quite a few weeks, at pie_sharp. And with that, I'll pass it back to Connie.
Okay, fantastic. So just as always, a huge shout out to our Patreon Paragons. These are patrons pledged at our highest tier on Patreon. Thank you so much. We really can't do this without you. So these are our wonderful Paragons: Abigail Reitel, Azra, Brooke Bright, Charles Chiacres, Cora Eckert, Lex Slater, Moonflower T, Purple Mouse, and Risa. And as always, here's a special haiku in your dedication. The people will speak and make their decision plain for the champion. And with that, I'm going to pass along things back to you, see, about our podcast.
Excellent. You know our podcast. You love our podcast. Arc 1 episodes 1 through 6 are now available in podcast form on Spotify, Apple Music, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. They've released every Tuesday from Arc 1 onward, so if you're really behind, you can check those out there. And patrons also get early access to our podcast episodes, as well as things like exclusive character sheets, GM notes, and the chance to have your tabletop OC cameo in our live stream. You can use the !patron command in chat to pull up a link to our Patreon. And please consider leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Music. It really helps, especially if you like our stuff. We really appreciate it. And now, other things we really appreciate are Erica New Girl and her spiel.
Thank you. This is like the most smooth intro to this program ever. You know the drill. We love to thank people here. We love to thank people for subbing, gift subbing, cheering, hosting, and rating. And these are the folks who did it during Arc 3, Episode 13, and for donating during our final Shoot Your One-Shot game. Rytel, Risa Malima, Purple Mouse TK, Rika Honda, Toaster with Wi-Fi, Crude Imposter, Nightbright, Fazman91, Colby253, Roll20 app, Velasque Goodbye, Pie Sharp, the GR Crew, Quintastic, Yikes It's Tristan, Key Squared, Starchmonger, Fae Forge Academy, Chill Acres, Brad BB, Persephoroth, and Anonymous. Moving on to this episode, we have a 25 sub goal, and 5 subs nets us a point of collective inspiration up to a maximum of 3. 15 subs gets us an auto crit on the board that anyone, including our GM, can use, and 25 subs unlocks the ultimate prize. One of the players has to monologue in character about the situation at hand. Speaking of the situation at hand, Max, can you please remind us what the situation at hand is?
I would love to do my best. You can always get to our recap document by using !recap in the chat, or by going to bit.ly/transrecap. If you get to it early enough before we have the actual thing written, you get to read my terrible transcripts of these recaps I do every week. So, without further ado, here is what happened last week. The team takes the winding, stinky trip back through the sewers and emerge back in the city, where the carnival has taken full force thanks to Bloodthirst's irresponsible use of Scod. Hand in hand, the team makes their way to the top floor of the Tower of Risk and Reward, dropping Tonga, Xiaohu, and Kane off at the heroes' quarters to recuperate. They arrive at the throne room, but it's too late. Atalanta is slumped over with her own trident speared through her chest. With her dying breath, she pleads for the party to take Bloodthirst down with a united front, something he doesn't have. She also tells V to tell Vasca she loves her. When she dies, Rev is there to reap her soul. Bloodthirst is found on the roof of the tower. He has got Kane at his feet. Unable to be reasoned with, he utilizes everything he's got to try and tempt the party into joining him, dredging up everyone's deepest desires and weaponizing them against them. Upon fireballing the shit out of Bloodthirst and reuniting Scod with Nectus, V completes her magical girl transformation. A defeated Bloodthirst is left for Kane to deal the killing blow. This week on Transplanar, City Cleanup Crew. I'll pass it to Lyra for this week's title.
Hell yeah. Moving on from last week to this week. Arc 3 episode teen. What? Arc 3 episode 14.
Episode T for testosterone.
Yeah, y'all can have that. I'd rather take the other one. As always, the titles of our episodes are taken from poems or songs written by queer, trans, and/or people of color. And the title of this episode, Grief Can Taste of Sugar, is from the poem Still Somehow, which is from Not Here by Hugh Minglian. And the full verse reads as follows. I will gut this distance with nostalgia, because grief can taste of sugar if you run your tongue along the right edge. So let me call your name.
Thank you, Lyra. And now moving on to the session itself, Transplanar RPG, as a reminder, is set in a grim, dark, gritty fantasy world that deals with difficult subjects that are potentially triggering to some viewers. Some content warnings for our campaign in this session may include death, fantasy violence, horror, gore, toxic and abusive relationships, guns, natural disasters, alcohol and substance use, addiction, memory loss, emotional trauma and baggage, self-destructive behavior, bloodletting, cults and cult-like behavior, and anxiety and panic attacks described in detail. Before we hop into the session, though, Transplanar RPG is proudly sponsored by Roll20. As you can see, the auto crit that we have on the board now, thanks to Crude Imposter Nightbrights, gift subs, thank you so much, by the way, is the pink die from Roll20. So give Roll20 a check out. They're a great virtual tabletop system and a digital tool set for playing all your favorite TTRPGs, including Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So check them out. They're great. Roll20, we love it. Repping them, and they are repping us. So with that Roll20 shout out of the way, let's get started. The last tendrils of crimson mist evaporate from the streets of Raso, and a wave of starless dark begins to roll in. The people slumped in the streets slowly stir, groaning and rubbing their temples, blinking this red haze of the carnival out of their eyes. And as they do, memories begin to creep back into cluttered minds. The realization of what's happened starts to sink in, and the streets of Raso begin to thrum with barely contained panic. But as voices begin to rise and emotions start to bubble over, we see a few brave souls venturing out into these darkened streets. Because in the absence of leadership, the people of Raso show up to provide guidance, reassurance, and direction to each other. We see on one street a copper dragonborn woman, tall, broad, and muscular, with a soft belly, barking orders to quell the growing panic in the streets. Her bright, almost fluorescent blue eyes scan the mottled alleyways for signs of trouble, and she grabs a torch off a nearby sconce to help guide a group of frightened children back into their homes. We also see a half-elf woman of middling height, slender, with skin the color of ivory and eyes the color of vibrant violet. She's draped in humble robes, her long auburn hair rippling down her back. A baby tree ant is strapped to her back, riding in a soil-filled pot as she raises her arms, summoning vines out of the ground. The vines burst from this concrete, showering the street in little clumps of soil. And then the vines lift the blockade of a crumbled building off the ground to reunite a separated family. We also see an air genasi. Fair has light blue skin, dark blue eyes, and long pointed ears. Their grayish-white hair flows behind them, resembling clouds that bounce and trail as they walk. She wears a dark blue dress and has a messenger bag slung over her shoulder, packed to the seams with the hard edges of spellbooks. Faye waves Fair arms. A gust of wind whips around them, and they lift a shivering group of people back up to the balcony level of their home where they fell down from. But even as these heroes of the common folk start to quell the chaos and panic, we hear shocked, confused voices slicing through the dissipating mist. Did you see those visions in the mist, too? Atalanta, dead. That's right, dead. And on the roof, with Bloodthirst and the gods? Does that mean Bloodthirst is champion again? Yes, that's how this works. He killed Atalanta. No, wait, I saw Cain. Cain killed Bloodthirst, which means Cain's the champion. But who are those people next to Cain? And that woman, the elf. Yes, the elf with light shooting into her, out of her. The Paragon. But that's impossible. You saw it too, didn't you? We all saw it. The Paragons. They're back. And the gods never left. As this realization creeps through Raso, a crowd gathers in the streets and approaches the Tower of Risk and Reward. The people of Raso congregate at the base of this massive spiraling tower, craning their necks to look up, up, up toward the roof. A chant is born on their lips, a chant that grows in power and volume until the winds pick up the voices of the people and spirit them up to the folks on the roof of the tower. Oka, Manaia, Dewey, and V, as the four of you stand on this roof, whipped by these sky-born winds, reeling from your victory against a bloodthirst, you hear this chanting. It's faint, but it's getting louder, and soon the words become undeniable. Cain, 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 Cain! The people are chanting for Cain to be champion. What do the four of you do?
I think V notices the sound coming over, and she's like still was kind of like looking over herself. She hears the chant, and she looks over to Kane and her friends. And this is more to her friends than anything else. What are we going to do about the championship?
The people have spoken. We have no right to deny them what's true. And Oka walks over to where Cain is sitting, still kind of crumpled by Bloodthirst's body, and they kneel in front of them. Kane, the people are calling you.
Kane is knelt over the crumpled body of Bloodthirst, which is bleeding still, I think, a little bit, and they're like staring down at their blood-stained hands, the dagger protruding out of Bloodthirst's chest. There's just sort of a blank look on their face. Okay. I guess I'm the champion now.
Do you want to be?
It's everything I ever dreamed of. It's everything I was told I had to be. It's the only path for me.
Different people can see different things from the same path. We might walk along the same stretch of road, but you could see the trash on the street and I might see the pastries in the bakery window. Just because it's the path you think you have to walk doesn't mean you need to follow in somebody else's footsteps. You can carve your own path.
Kane looks up at you, with their glossed over silvery eyes coming back into stronger focus as you support them with your words. Okay. Okay. And Kane slowly struggles to a stand. Their knees weak, their legs trembling. They hold onto your shoulder to pull themselves up, right? And they say, I will be champion, but I won't be the champion that Bloodthirst has tried to make me into. I'll be my own kind of champion. Out of his shadow.
The Kusing Guild is gone. You need to make a better world for the orphans who you used to be. Nobody else knows how to do it. You can, but you need a regent, a strong regent, to keep you in check too.
What do you have in mind?
And Oka looks to Dewey.
I know a person who's good at keeping people in check. The people that aren't Rem, and would be more than willing to take that role. But we're downstairs. I mean, you were with Rem.
Xiaohu. Is that who you're suggesting, bird person?
Yeah, tiefling person, champion.
Just Kane. Fine. I don't know anyone else who deserves to be regent, and the four of you are not from here. That much is obvious, and I don't think you intend to stay to rebuild this place. Fine. And Kane's just sort of limps forward a little bit, pauses, then turns around and gingerly, almost gently, picks up Bloodthirst's sort of limp body and holds it in their arms. Fine. Let's go talk to Rim then.
And what of the former champion? Do we lay her to rest where she sits? Or Do we bring her somewhere else?
The advisors and the current regent, Bamba, they tradition dictates they should be in charge of the funeral procession.
Understood.
We'll take care of her last wishes. She gave them to us for a reason.
Okay. All right. While this is happening, V, what are you doing?
V is watching all of that, and she's actually thinking about the fact that she's got these gods inside of her now, and she's, she's just kind of in deep thought about like what this new energy sort of flowing through her, and kind of like at times looking back at Rev, and she's still paying attention to the conversations, but she's just been kind of like in her own world a little bit.
Okay. V, the presence of Scott and Nectis inside of you has settled. It was like sort of like when they were finally reunited in you, it was like you were a vast lake, and just there was some sort of like typhoon swirling around inside the lake, some sort of massive disturbance, and now the disturbance is gone, and the sediments are starting to settle back down to the bottom of the lake. Right? There's just this sense of settling that's like hovering through and filtering down, percolating down through your soul. You can feel Scott and Nectis. They feel whole again inside of you, and their presence is starting to fade a bit. Both of them feel very exhausted, for lack of a better word, and now that they're finally reunited, it feels like they want to rest. But as like this glow is like settling down from around you, right? Like your like Paragon form, right, is like shed around you. You can see like streaks of like green and what was it, like purple running through your hair that's now like sort of like wild and like all around like your shoulders, and I think you're also like noticing how different you look. And while your other friends were talking to Kane and figuring out the championship, Rev sort of looks down at you. She's holding either side of your shoulders. How does it feel to have them inside you?
It's a very strange feeling, honestly. I mean, I feel they're settling down, and I'm starting to feel normal, but I won't lie to you, I was terrified before everything that just happened. And now that it's happened, I actually feel calm about it. I wanted to ask you what do I do now? What is it? What do you do with when you have a god inside of you, let alone two?
It's a tricky kind of situation, V. The Raven Queen, it's hard to get in contact with her. She only really seems to surface when I'm around other god shards or other paragons like yourself and the rest of your friends. When I try to make a concerted effort to commune with her, it takes a lot out of me. When I try to ask her for guidance, help, advice, and then when I try to entreat her for divine intervention or a favor, it takes even more out of me and out of her. And I am out of character, of course, referring to the Paragon mechanics I've sent you and only you, Erica, for how you can use Scott and Nectis inside of you, and all the rules around that. So if you're a patron, perhaps you'll get exclusive access to those mechanics. Going back in character, Rev goes on to say, but I do know one thing. The Raven Queen. She's positive that the only way forward, the only way to restore Andake back to the way it was before the cataclysm is if all the Paragons were realized, if we all worked together, banded our power and our knowledge together. Perhaps then we'd be able to have enough magic, enough power to turn back the wheel of time. Or at the very least, use our magic to repair the world. bring the after and the beyond and the rest of the gods back to us.
Understood.
She's also... And Rev actually pulls you aside, like away from Oka and Manaia and Dewey and Dr. Aluso. She also warns of a dark presence. That which I believe you call the stranger. It pulls this... Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, we've become aware of the stranger.
The shard of the queen I have inside of me is but an echo. She doesn't exactly have all the memories of the actual full Raven Queen, but when I commune with her, if I'm lucky, I get visions of the Stranger War. It was real, V. The stranger was here once before. Aside from that, I don't know too much. If you can, try to find out more about this war, but from Scott and Nectus's perspective and their Paragon at the time.
Yes, I remember during the carnival, when I first got Nectus, I saw... when they looked at my heart, I think I saw the Paragon before me, and I almost got to talk to them, but because I didn't have Scott, it got interrupted by bloodthirst. I'll have to see if I can reconnect to him.
Well, they must be exhausted. And so must you.
It's... V, thinks about the last, what feels like for her just a day or two, but everything, the carnival and everything is... Yes, it's been such an ordeal. And V, looks up into Rev's eyes. During the carnival, you left me, and I just want you to know that I never want that to happen in real life.
I'm not in the habit of making promises I don't know if I can keep. But what I can promise you is this, V. I would never leave you by choice. And she clasps both of your hands. And of course, leans in and kisses you. Maybe at that point is when all of you hear Kane just go, we have business to attend to. If everyone is ready on this roof here, I think I'm quite prepared to get the rest of this shit tied up.
Dr. Aluso, are you okay?
Yes. And Oka, you notice that Dr. Aluso is sort of standing by the edge of the roof. Their hand was sort of outstretched, and they seem to be using magic to manipulate the last of the crimson mist to sort of dance and weave between their fingers. And when you speak, they let it go, and it dissipates in the night air, and they turn a bit startled at you. Yes. Let's get going. It appears that, well, obviously the people, and they gesture toward the base of the tower that you can't see from up here, but you can still hear the chanting, Kane, Kane, Kane in the distance. Know of the events that have happened up here. Perhaps by being imbued with this mist, they were able to see everything that transpired up here. So we have a lot to talk about in regards to our next steps. And Oka, if you want, you can, because you're the one who addressed Dr. O, you can roll insight on Dr. Luso to see. I mean, it seemed, on the surface they were like manipulating the crimson mist to see how the people knew about Kane, but
26.
Okay, with a 26, you can ask 3 questions about them. In this moment.
Now that I have them, I'm like, well, I don't know what to ask. Do any of my other fellow? I'm willing to take suggestions from the crowd of my fellow players here. Did they seem? I suppose they were just. I don't know. I don't have to ask. Actually, can I hold those? Maybe, or I guess I don't. I just had fun rolling.
Yeah, you can hold them, or you can ask the rest of our players for suggestions for questions to ask about Dr. Luso's emotional state.
Were they trying to be secretive about playing with the mist?
Is that question number 1? No. The answer is no.
Did they seem surprised by any of what happened just now?
Yes, extremely.
Is there any other expression? Like, did they seem upset by what happened, or just surprised, or excited about it, or neutral?
They seem disturbed. But it's less so about what happened between y'all and more so about themselves and their own reaction to the mist. Which, as you know, like breeded images of your deepest desires, right? They were disturbed by what appeared to the mist for them. But I don't think any of you saw what it was for Dr. Luso. Okay, what do the 4 of you do?
Right. And Manaia takes a couple steps towards V and Rev. Right. Let's go, lovebirds. V, if you want to look at yourself, we've got mirrors downstairs. Otherwise, we need to get Kane on this throne and then in front of the people. And maybe with the doctor, too. They seem like they might need one.
Sorry.
We had no choice.
Come. Let's find Xiaohu.
Okay. And on that, I think we can cut to the heroes' quarters. Let's say with your combined magic and new divine powers, you're able to phase through the floor. We don't have to figure out exactly how you get there, but you get there. You get to the heroes' quarters, which is... looks like there was a very big, very decisive and fast fight in the common space. You sort of see like ruined, torn up upholstery, claw marks, like scorch marks, right? Like overturned armchairs, like the ash from the fireplace is completely just spewed out over like the rocky frame of the fireplace itself. And as you, let's say like you shimmer back down, you apparate on the dais, maybe using like Dewey's like a device, right, to reactivate the dais without a conductor. You sort of like hear a, not you again, you, oh, yay, oh, okay. And Tonga sort of like ducks out from behind like an overturned like a chair, and she was holding like a crossbow, like a hand crossbow, and it like has her goggles on. She goes, she quickly puts her goggles back up, drops the crossbow, and like runs up to you. Squeak and Xiaohu and Talat also all like peer out from behind cover. And Xiaohu goes, Gardu, Manaia, Oka, V, and the 2 of you whose names I don't really know. You're safe. Good. We all saw the visions in the mist. We weren't sure if they were real or not, but I'm so glad they were.
Talat, Xiaohu, Tonga, Squeak, well, of course you're okay. We were so worried. Bloodthirst was here, wasn't he?
Yes. Oh, God, it was so fast. The battle was just over in 3 seconds. I'm so sorry we couldn't stop him from taking Kane away.
It was for the best. They're better now, and... well... we should get down to the bottom floor. We'll fill you in on the way.
Wait, hold on. What are you doing with them? And Tonga sort of like looks, like kind of like with like a lot of emotion under the surface of her face at Kane, who's like decidedly not looking at Tonga. Don't tell me the 4 of you are agreeing to making Kane champion.
We have a long story to tell.
It's complicated.
Cardew? You're going along with this?
It's out of our control. Do you not hear the people?
Of course we hear the people chanting so freaking loud. Think it was Adolin or something. But I guess technically Cade should be champion, but this isn't right. It was the four of you who brought Bloodthirst to his knees. And you're not fit to be champion. Do you even know who I am? Do you even remember what you did to me, what you did to my friends? And Tonga is sort of like striding up to Kane, and like poking like one furious like finger into the chest above where they're holding Bloodthirst. Get your finger off of me. You! The people you've killed, the corpses you've created on your mad ascent to power. Do you even remember their names? Listen, lady, I've killed a lot of people. I don't remember all of their names. No, and I'm sorry, who are you? Who is this? And Kane's gesturing to the rest of you as well. What do the four of you do?
I think Dewey puts a hand on Tonga's shoulder, sort of like hesitantly, like he's not on board with like what Kane is saying, but also like this isn't productive. And Dewey's gonna try and take like Tonga aside and be like, if Xiaohu is regent, at least I know that your mentorship will keep. It's not going to continue on the way that Bloodthirst ran this city.
How do you know that, Cardew?
I know you.
How?
I have to
Tonga,
trust you with this.
She crosses her arms and just like continuously shakes her head like she's at like a loss for words. And that's when Kane steps forward, like with, like still holding Bloodthirst's body. Listen, I don't know who you are, and I don't know which one of your friends I hurt, but that's... The Kane that entered Clotho is not the same Kane that left. Okay? I killed Bloodthirst for a reason. I've known for a long time, perhaps longer than I'm willing to admit, that what he was doing to the people of Raso, what he was doing to the orphans he took in, his twisted way of looking at the world, is wrong. Doesn't do anything but breed more pain. And I can't... The images that the carnival showed me, I can't continue down that path. I don't want to be a monster anymore. Fine. And Tonga just sort of turns around and storms off into one of the rooms in the hero's quarters.
Don't be like that.
Tonga, bang! And the door slams.
The people are asking for you downstairs.
Okay. And Kane sort of like shakes their head, and they sort of like roll their shoulders, and as they do, a ripple of magic shudders down their body as they like clean themselves off with like prestidigitation. They like patch up their clothes, they like make themselves a full face of makeup. You know what I mean? Like there's a little bit of glimmer and like sheen to their like skin now. Even like Bloodthirst's body is like cleaned a little bit. Okay. Let's have the people meet their new champion. And their new regent, I guess. And they turn to look at Xiaohu. What? Who? And Xiaohu's like looking around.
Come on, I thought you were ready for that, Xiaohu.
Wait, me? I'm regent? I'm the regent? But I didn't do anything. I wasn't even on the roof.
Doesn't matter. The champion can choose their regent.
Oh my god. Oh my god, it's okay, it's happening. Oh, wow. I've dreamed of this day ever since I was... Okay.
Wait, one second. And Xiaohu like runs off into a room and runs back out with like a little rolled up scroll.
This is my victory regent speech. I have a victory champion speech, a concession champion speech, and a concession regent speech.
None of... The people don't want that. And they don't want a full face of makeup, Kane. They want the you that saved them from the carnival. You don't have to pretend.
Fine. And magic shimmers around Kane again, and this time the makeup is like a natural look. You know, and Kane's like, Listen, Oka, I appreciate what you're trying to say here, but I am not going out there looking like a raggedy... Is that what you're wearing? Kane looks at Xiaohu, who's just sort of like in rear leather armor.
Yeah? It was the armor my father passed down to me and his father to him.
Looks kind of... Okay, fine, whatever, this doesn't matter, let's just go greet the people.
Well,
I think you should take them down.
Me? I'm just a thief. What?
God and Nectus. Remember that?
Oh, gosh.
right. What happened to that, V?
V's like, I don't think they've ever seen this V like not have like a clue or like the idea of like, oh yeah, sure, this will be fine. I'll just make something up. And she's like actually like nervous about this. And
Hey, V?
yes,
You're not champion. The people don't need anything from you right now. We're gonna go down there. We're gonna be part of the crowd. We're going to accept Kane as the new champion, whether we want it or not. It's not for us to decide. Your
right.
responsibilities lie elsewhere. With the people you've adventured with, the people you trust, and Manaia glances over to Rev, the people you love. So, let's make the rest of this day the best we can.
Sounds. I'll do my best.
I do have to interject here. This is Dr. Luso. The people, based on what I saw in the mist that I was studying, they saw and heard pretty much everything up on that roof. So, V, you should stand with the rest of the Paragons here, with me, and Rev will support you, but they know. They know who you are. They know what you are. So be prepared for that, I suppose. And Rev steps in and says, that wasn't exactly very reassuring. Doctor, listen, V. You're a Paragon, and people are going to start to know. Tried to keep this on the down low as much as we can, but as the cataclysm wears on and more of us become realized, it will be hard to stop the rumors, to stop the gossip. So, do what you do best, V. Control the narrative.
Okay. V thinks for a long time about perhaps disguising herself into Ronnie, but she's like, all right, I will go ahead and then she like actually, no, what? I have the spell slot. She casts disguise herself into Ronnie, but could I just be like this? Do I have to?
V, Nuksherzo.
Okay, and she drops it.
Yeah, I think Rev had cocked her hand back. She went, she was about to punch you. Like, who the fuck? Oh, Oh, never do that again, okay? What was that? That was disgusting. I'm sorry. No part of you could ever be disgusting to me, V, but that came close. That man came really close. Don't do that again, ever. And Grim, the scythe that she summoned out of nowhere, just disappears again.
Oh my gosh, I'm dying. Okay, fine, no more Ronnie. Let's just go down. I'll think of something on the way down.
Okay. I think all of you like crowd on the dais, maybe. And like Rev's just sort of muttering like, just listen, V, I am a lesbian, so please just don't. And then phew, the light goes off. And all of you land back on like the ground floor at the base of the Tower of Risk and Reward. And now the chanting is so loud, right? Like from the crowd, like it seems like all of Raso has like gathered all around the base. But there's sort of like an unspoken like part of their culture or the tradition here. None of them have rushed in to the tower, even though there's no barricades set up. All the people are waiting respectfully at the bottom of the stairs leading up to this raised dais where this tower looms. And I think all of you like stride out, right? You like stride out from the shadow of the tower with the starless dark fanning out above your heads, but like torches and like lit sconces from nearby like houses, and people are like casting light and like with lanterns like aloft, like in the crowd, you know, like lighters at a concert, right? that they've been like held aloft. And there's like the chanting suddenly stops and like a silence settles as like all of you like step out like into this illuminated darkness at the very top of the stairs. Look down across this like sea of people. There's got to be at least 1,000, several thousand people just like filling the streets, just all over the base of the Tower of Risk and Reward. And Kane steps forward, holding Bloodthirst's body. And the silence just sort of hangs over everyone in Raso. But before Kane steps forward, do any of you want to say anything to Kane or like do something, or are we all just like sort of like waiting?
I mean, Manaia and presumably Oka, Dewey, Talat, Dr. Lusso, and them. At least, well, I can't speak for y'all, but Manaia is going to try to take maybe like a side path down to join the crowd, feeling no obligation to be up next to the champion.
Yeah, I think maybe it's like we peel away from the sides.
Okay. V, do you stay up there? Or do you try to join the crowd?
V will give a little bit of distance, but we'll stay on the stairs.
Okay. And we do have okay, I'm gonna say what Kane says first, and then we did hit our 25 sub goal, and I have an idea for I know we usually roll for it randomly, but it would make so much more sense if it was like V's big Paragon speech. So before we get there, all of you, Dr. Lusso, Talat, Xiaohu, Tanga did not come down with the rest of you. Rev, even, y'all, like join the front row of the crowd and you look up. Dewey, Manaia, Oka, at V, Kane. Sorry, and Xiaohu. Xiaohu's also up there. My apologies. And Kane's also holding Bloodthirst. Yes, Manaia.
Sorry, quick retcon. Did Dewey grab the stone when we got down?
I think Dewey's actually not going to join the crowd. He's going to like sneak off to like retrieve the stone, but also like crouch there, and he doesn't want to be in like a crowd of people right now.
Okay, so you're going to remain inside like the ground floor of the tower. Okay, but there's like a massive archway, so you can see Kane's back, and like in the distance, like you see the little faces of people, right? So you're crouched there all by yourself in this vast like coliseum, right?
Oh, I think that actually makes more sense. Oka would also just kind of stay back against the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're not making a show of like going down.
Sounds good. So
Okay.
are you also hanging behind Manaia in that case?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, I think all of y'all hang behind. It's just Kane. Okay, cool. Kane holding Bloodthirst, and Xiaohu who step out. The crowd quiets down. And Kane takes a deep breath and says, "My name is Kane, and I am your new champion. Please don't cheer for me. That's probably the first and last time you'll ever hear me say that." And I think like the crowd laughs at that. I hold in my arms the body of a man I once called father. The body of a man who taught me everything I know about how to survive, how to get ahead, how to thrive in a world that sees no value in a starving orphan child. I hold in my arms the body of a man who showed me what family could be, who fed me, clothed me, gave me a roof over my head when I had none, gave me siblings when I was lost. I hold in my arms the body of a man I killed tonight. The body of a man all of you used to call champion. It's Raso's worst kept secret that Bloodthirst was the leader of the Kusing Guild. If you don't know what that is, how does it feel to live under a rock, first of all? Second of all, Kusing Guild was a vast thieves guild, criminal empire that I was a part of. My first act as champion will be to demolish it brick by brick. Bloodthirst took me in when no one else would. But that doesn't mean he was a good person. Just because you do this one nice thing, honestly, this one bare minimum thing that you do to call yourself parent or father, doesn't mean you get to treat your children how you want. Doesn't mean you get to mold them into your perfect little warriors. Or shut them in cages when they disagree with you, or make them do your dirty work. I have had a complex relationship with Bloodthirst. I still don't know if killing him was the right thing to do. But what I do know is this. I will not be the champion Bloodthirst had always dreamed of me becoming. I will not rule with an iron fist. I will not kill or imprison or exile those who disagree with me. I will face those I've hurt. And I will not look away. And I hope you won't either. Because we have a lot to answer for. And with that, Kane gently places Bloodthirst's body on the ground and conjures a white shroud out of thin air and gently lays this white shroud over Bloodthirst's body. And now I think is the time that you hear from this woman. And Kane turns to you, V. The crowd begins to murmur, oh, is that who I think it is? It's the Paragon? But I thought Paragons were just a myth. Shh, she's about to talk. And these thousands, tens of thousands of eyes, enough to fill a football stadium twice over, all turn and fix on you, V. What do you say? Here's the monologue, redeemed for you. Ding!
Citizens of the Championship of Nabal, what a wild few months we've had here, both in the championship and across Andake. Yes, it is true I am your Paragon. And yes, it is true that Paragons do exist. I know ever since that night, so many months it feels like now ago, it felt like the gods abandoned us here on Andake. But through my ventures, I've discovered the gods are still here. They're still with us. But they're waiting. They're not quite themselves anymore. but they're waiting for their Paragons to find them. And coming to the championship, I found Scott and Nectus, and I indeed was their Paragon. And I carry them inside of me right now. I don't think it is fair that you would not understand what it means to be a Paragon or what is happening right now in Andake. I think it is important that I, Vinoc Scherzo, am open and honest with you. Which, if you've known me for any length of time, you know that that's a wild ask of me to do for you. But Kane is not the only one who used to be part of networks of thieves. I, too, am a thief at heart. But these are strange times we live in, and it seems that many of us have to give up old ways to make room for the new, and for any hope of Andake being restored to what it once was still existing. And yes, there are other Paragons, there are other gods, and we are working on it. We've had many adventures. We have done so much already, and we're working on doing more for you. I just want you all to be aware and understand that the carnival and some of the terrors of that is over. That was a strange reaction of Scott and Nectus in this new world, and now they're safe within me. They've come to their senses, so to speak, and so it is safer here. It is time for you all to work together to rebuild this great city and the championship, turn it into something even better than it could ever have been imagined before. And just know that there are some groups of people out there, some parading as cults, some parading as scientists, some parading as, power-hungry members of the seediest part of the Andake underbelly, all trying to work against us. But we're going to endure because we've got something that they don't. And V kind of looks a little bit back, but obviously her friends are kind of chilling out of view, but she kind of gestures in that direction. But I'm not doing this alone. And if these last few months have taught me anything, it's that together with me and the folks that I travel with, I've learned that we can accomplish anything if we stay strong together. And so, with that, I promise you, as your Paragon, we're going to do everything we can to protect Andake and you. And all that we ask is that you take care of each other as well. Thank you.
And with that, everyone starts cheering and clapping and whooping, shooting up fireworks, with a last of their magic, whooping and cheering and cheering. Xiaoku, I think, had stepped forward to start, and I'm the as everyone starts to cheer. And I think on this celebrating populace, we're gonna take a quick 10-minute break. We'll be back in 10. Enjoy the fan art reel that I need to update. It's 4:07 here, so we'll be back around 4:17 p.m., just 3 minutes shy of 4:20. Stick around, go grab a drink, stretch your limbs, eat some water, get a snack, use the bathroom, etc. We'll be back in 10 minutes. We love you all so much. Shpeesh. Hello, everybody. It is so good to see all of your digital non-existent faces in the chat. Welcome back to the second part of Arc 3, Episode 14. Grief can taste of sugar. I'm muted for y'all, but I'm not muted for the stream. Sorry about that. So before we hop back
secrets
in,
from us?
I am keeping nefarious secrets from all of you. There's cat spotted. Use the cat spotted channel redemption, please. Just as a reminder, Transplanar RPG, we are set in a grimdark, gritty fantasy world that deals with difficult subjects that are potentially triggering to some viewers. So some content warnings for our campaign in this particular session may include death, fantasy violence, horror, gore, toxic and abusive relationships, guns, natural disasters, alcohol and substance use, addiction, memory loss, emotional trauma and baggage, self-destructive behavior, bloodletting, cults and cult-like behavior, and anxiety and panic attacks described in detail. You can get a reminder of these content warnings at any time using !CW in chat and !safety in chat to get a list of our cast lines and veils to know what subjects are no-goes, no matter how dark this campaign gets. And as always, we are sponsored by Roll20. Roll20 is the pink die right here. That means our auto crit is active. We love Roll20. Roll20 loves us. Check out Roll20. Make an account if you haven't already. With that out of the way, let's hop right back into the session. After Kane's speech and V's speech as Andake's first Paragon in over a myriad, 10,000 years, we're now going to do, I think, a quick little montage. I think the next couple days are going to pass. There's going to be a lot of rebuilding in Raso, in the aftermath of the carnival in the city itself, as well as emotional rebuilding and a city coming to grips with earth-shattering truths being levied at them in a single night. Not just the passage of power from one hand to another, but the revelation of Paragons, of the gods not being entirely gone, of there being a way to perhaps restore Andake back to the way it was before the cataclysm. There are whispers of hope and fear and shock about this turn of events. And now I think let's zoom in on how our PCs have been dealing with the next couple of days in Raso. Starting with Oka.
I think Oka is walking down one of the many now like bustling streets of Raso, and they have like skewered meat and pepper jerky like sizzling on a stick, and they're like kind of like gnawing at it. And they turn to their companion, Dr. Oluso, on their way to the library. They're walking like with a steady clip, and they're chewing, and they go, "All right, so who the fuck is Voska?"
Yes, slow down, Oka. I don't want you to get a cramp.
I'm not going to get a cramp. I've been walking all over Andake for the last 6 months, and before that too. I'm not going to get a cramp.
You say as you start to feel a cramp. Like not together
I
in your
power
gut.
through.
Dr. Lucius says, yes. Voska. I don't know if you remember this. It was quite a number of weeks ago at this point. Voska is one of several other people who are a part of Equilibrium. The group that your party has joined, helping me on my mission to restore Andake, etc., etc., etc. Voska is a person, excuse me, let me retry that. Voska is a practitioner of the healing arts. I at first brought them up because I figured they'd be able to help you with your blocked tea, but between Dabathati and the court, and now Raso, we haven't really had a chance to meet and connect back at the chasm.
Is Voska in Raso?
No. Last I'd seen Voska, I'd sent them up to the commune to investigate some problems up north. That now, given all this information, I believe might be a shard of Neatbuza.
Right, so how does Atalanta know her?
I don't know. And it might be a different Voska, but the likelihood of that seems low. I don't know how Atalanta might know her. Voska has never been exactly forthcoming about her history.
And Oka kind of like stops in the street and chews. Is this like how you didn't really know about V and Rev?
What do you... Oh, about their romantic entanglements? perhaps. I'm not very good at picking up on stuff like that. Maybe like out of character, we see like a montage of all the times Vosk was like, I love Atalanta, or like, this is my girlfriend, like with like a pendant. Just kidding, this is not canon. Dr. Luso's like, I might have missed that if it were more obvious to other eyes.
Well, there's plenty of things you don't miss, Doc, and that's why we're going to the library.
Ah, books, scrolls, yes. Okay, definitely more my expertise. And I think we cut now to the library. In the Plaza of Dreams and Knowledge, there's a sprawling library connected by various courtyards. Actually, it makes you think a little bit of a familiar library in the Slumbering Palace of Tokao, Oka, as you like walk between these like trimmed hedges and like people like, I think a part of the library was crushed when one of the big bone Ferris wheels like rolled through Raso. I think part of the library was one of the structures that was crushed. So like half of the library is like shut down for repairs. But it's still operational. It's still open, and I think there's like a little like dwarf lady with like a big full beard, and she's like, "Oh, don't mind the construction. Just the aftermath of the carnival and everything going up in flames here in Raso. How can I help you?"
I'm looking for everything you have on. Let's see here. And Oka pulls out like a little piece of paper. Everything that you have on Paragons, the Paragon War, the Queen's Gambit, and the Stranger War.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So many of those books are checked out. Because, well, for obvious reasons. But I might have some more volumes in the back. Anything in particular about the Stranger Paragon stuff?
Everything. Every book.
Got it. I could also put you on a waiting list for some of our more illustrious volumes, as she pulls out a scroll that hits the ground and keeps rolling.
Oka like looks after it like anything in the restricted sections? Archives?
Oh, well, the restricted sections are restricted for a reason. They're not really supposed to allow common folk back there. Some of the books are rather volatile, dangerous if opened.
Right, but this is by order of the champion.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
By Kane?
Yeah.
Well, all right. The dwarf lady turns and leads you to the restricted section. There's like several doors that she has to unlock, like runes that glow. There's like a door that's like a blood sacrifice, and a door where you have to like speak your darkest truth. Like it all opens. She's like, "Oh, when I killed my only son," and shit opens, and like, like you walk in, and she leads you into the restricted section. Yes, Oka?
I think as this is all going on, Oka turns to Dr. Luso and they're like, I think I'm getting better at lying.
I think you are too. As the two like lowest charisma people in the party look at each other and nod. You are led into the forbidden, restricted section of the library where it's all dark and you see these books bound in leather, these scrolls that are like, wrapped up in like old blood red seals, etc. And like as you pass by a couple of the books, you swear they go, "Help me," as you like move past these like, the forbidden section, like evil cursed books, and like old musty volumes. And she leads you to a section that does not have a lot of scrolls. Says, "Oh, this is all we have on Paragons in the forbidden section. I'm gonna get out of here. Give me a ring if you need me. I don't like being in here." She scurries off. And you look at this section and you see books about the Paragon War, about the Stranger War, about the Queen's Gambit, and a lot of these are like, I think the reason why they're in the restricted section is because they claim to be like an expose or like maybe like a biography of like the Paragons, like the sordid truths about each Paragon, like stuff like that, right?
So like rag sheets? So like mom magazines about the Paragons? Like People magazine, but for Paragons?
Yes, I think so. And there are several that look to be like journals, diaries that claim to be the diaries of actual Paragons.
Ooh, my feature. My grim psychometry feature. Oka is gonna they're gonna just like lean back and stare really hard at the bookshelves and then start like running their hands over over every shelf, like looking at stuff, opening them if they can like read the language or not, like throwing aside the ones they can't to Dr. Aluso. And I would love to use that feature to get advantage on history checks to recall the dark past of objects that I am touching.
Okay, roll intelligence investigation with advantage.
I'm going to use a point of inspiration. That was a 5 and a 2.
Collective, right? Because you don't have any personal.
Yes, please. $19.
With a 19, as you're looking at all of these, almost all of them are fake. Okay? Almost all of them are like forgeries or frauds. Right? Maybe you think of V. Like as you look, because like, you know, and like you're like, God, I wonder how much money the library paid to like acquire these.
Yeah, and Oka's just fucking throwing them over their shoulder. Like maybe Dr. Luce is like, you can't treat books like that. But Oka's just fucking throwing them, right? Like they're just like looking, tossing.
The one genuine volume is a diary. Is a circular diary. That sort of like screws open and just sort of like opens up almost like an accordion. But as you do, like the pages float off and like filter through like magically. But the pages are blank. But you know with your grim psychometry that there's a trick, there's some sort of spell that's hiding the contents. Right. And you know this is, you know, you turn this like odd circular diary like around in your hands and you see a name of its owner sort of written in an ancient text, in an ancient way of writing Jukan. And I will let you do an intelligence history check to see if you can piece together the name, given your studies, your academic upbringing. You might have studied like ancient. This is equivalent of like something written in Latin.
25.
Okay, the name is...
Surprise, y'all, Oka's smart.
The name of the diary owner is Shu Hai Miao. So that's S-H-U. No, not like that, Max. Not like meow. It's S-H-U H-A-I space M-I-A-O. Shu Hai Miao.
Does that ring any bells at all for anything?
With your 25 history check, yes. This was the name of Sen's Paragon.
That's right, baby. Oka
had them
tucks that
written
shit.
down.
I know, it's in my notes too. Oka tucks that shit right underneath their arm and is like, we got what we came looking for, Doc. And they smile, actually, this like big grin. And they kind of like clap Dr. Lusa, who's maybe like rifling through all the books overturned on the ground, and they like stride out, the big smile on their face with the circular book tucked under their arm.
I love that. I think Dr. Lucy is like, yes, let me just clean this up. They wave their hands and like all of the fallen scrolls like glow blue, and they put themselves, reorganize themselves back into the shelf, and they hustle past you, their dirty lab coat like fluttering. And I think on the two of you exiting the forbidden section of the library of the Plaza of Dreams and Knowledge, we are going to cut now to Manaia. So Manaia, what have you been up to this week, basically, these next couple of days?
You mentioned offhand, and I'm going to bring it up now, that I would regain access to my warlock powers after a long rest.
Yes.
So I think first, the day after, I'm assuming we're staying in the heroes' quarters. Manaia wakes up, and what do I feel?
You feel the princess again in you, which is perhaps very relieving. But she feels really small and distant in your soul. Almost muffled. Go ahead.
Manaia wakes up and immediately closes her eyes and starts meditating. And though she is verbally silent, she is screaming in her mind. Tears are running down her face as she goes, "Princess, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have overdrawn. I thought I could use part of myself. I didn't know it would hurt you so much. Please, how can I fix this?"
I don't think she answers you, Manaia, not that first day, at least. I think you sense that she's there, but she's like kind of giving you the cold shoulder. She doesn't answer.
Okay, so it's not for lack of power of like, I physically can't talk to you so much as I'm choosing not to.
Exactly.
Okay. After 2 days of this, literally the exact same routine, um, and maybe just like intermittently during the day, just like, "Princess, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I'll never do it again. I promise. On 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 Mahu's oceans, I swear." Um, and after the third day, she says, "Something's broken. I don't know what to do. And I'm going to see if I can ask Mother and Father about it when we get back to Dr. Luceau's. Just hold tight, all right? I love you." And with that out of the way, she's going to go find Talat.
Okay. You're able to find Talat, I think, at the edge of Clothau Jungle. Talat has made it like really clear that she doesn't sleep at the hero's quarters with you. She's gone back to Clothau because that's where she's from. That's where she calls home. So you're able to find her sort of like in Clothau, right? Like we'll cut there and you sort of like smell the sort of like autumn, like nature sort of suffusing your nostrils. You hear like bird song in the distance. You hear crickets chirping, and like the last stragglers of cicadas buzzing in the wood. You feel the pliant ground sort of like squish underneath you. It rained last night, like a wet twig snap underfoot as you like walk deeper into the jungle. Maybe like brushing vines and branches out of the way.
Yeah, and Manaia's gonna bring like a small like bowl of just like food, natural herbs, vegetables, fruits, maybe some meats. Um, Sort of like an apology gift, you might call it. Um, do I see Talat? Or at least heard like
Her hawk or
her
her
hawk or heard like
her shack.
thingy with the yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm. As you walk in, you see the shack where you first met her, but it doesn't seem like there's anything or anyone on it. It looks like it hasn't been touched in at least a week or two. But you know, maybe as you like pause to look up at it, you hear you don't hear anything, but I think you just like sort of see like a dark shadow descend from the canopy as a hawk like swings down and like grabs some of the meat out of the bowl and flies off.
Is this Talat's hawk? Do I recognize it?
Yes, you recognize it. It is the hawk that landed on Talat's arm when you first met her.
Yeah. If I recognize the hawk before it gets to me, Manaia's gonna lift up the bowl.
Okay, yeah, the hawk flies off and like disappears, you know, with its feast. And hear a voice from above you and a little bit to your right. Go. Again, you should really be careful about tramping around these jungles like you're some kind of big elephant. Sort of dropping down from the canopy, like light as a feather, silent as a feather, is Talat. And like she has like a short bow drawn, but she like puts it back she sheaths it again on her back. Hey, Manaia.
Hey. Sorry to drop by. I brought an offering. I know last time I talked to you, I interrupted some hunting, so I wanted to bring this.
Ah, some berries and fruit and meat and stuff? Okay, I won't say no to that.
Do you have time to talk?
As she's like taking the stuff in the bowl and like putting it into like a satchel strapped to her waist, she pauses and looks at you. What? You gonna call me a bitch again?
No, I'm sorry about everything. I should have been more understanding about who you are, your situation, and without you, we wouldn't have made it through the carnival. You helped us a lot before the carnival, telling us about where it is and rescuing rescuing me afterward, and I'm grateful for that.
She sort of like rubs a knot in her like neck, sort of cricks her neck and cracks it. It's it's fine. You don't have to thank me or apologize.
It's not. They say that for every transgression against a person, it takes 7 good deeds to make up for it, and we won't be in Raso for long, so I won't be able to fulfill that, but I'm really truly sorry.
Is that what they say
You
where
saved
you're
my
from?
life. Hmm?
Is that what they say where you're from?
Well, that's what they say in the orphanage I grew up in.
Oh. Sorry to hear you were an orphan.
It's fine. I'm here now, huh? I think tears start welling up in her eyes as she says, I took a vow a long time ago to never bear ill will against anyone, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I've hurt you and I've hurt so many other people, and I have a long way to go to make up for it. And I know it's hot out here, and I know you're used to getting stung and hurt around here, but
But you're not used to
cats,
singing and hurting, are you?
no. Took the carnival and the days and weeks after to realize that.
Hey, listen, Manaia, I appreciate you coming out here, giving me this gift. Lots of people would have just hightailed it out of here by now, not give another crap about me. That means something. So, thanks. Koji will enjoy that rabbit. But don't give him too many gifts, or else he's gonna get lazy. Won't be a good hunting partner anymore. Listen, Manaia, I don't have some huge insight or some big shattering perspective on this. And she gestures toward everything. What I do know is that V and you and everyone you're traveling with, there's something really different about y'all. Something magical. I can sense it. And the fact that you're here and crying about it and being a person about it makes me feel better about our chances, I guess. Because if you have it all figured out, if you know exactly what to do, we've got the plan all the time, I'd be like, who the hell is this person? I'm not gonna listen to you. You think you know what's best for me? No fucking way. The fact that you're here and you don't know what to do and you're hurting, I think that's a good thing. I think that's a really good thing.
Thank you, Talab, for everything.
You're welcome.
You, when this is all over, do you want to, maybe teach me a little bit of hunting?
Sorry, I'm married to the. Oh! Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure. First lesson, don't walk so loud. It's honestly really impressive how loud you walk. Could hear you coming from half a mile away. So could the entire rest of the jungle. Scared off all the game.
Well, on a ship, you have to be loud to get over the waves. But maybe I'll invest in some quieter boots.
It's not about the boots, Manaia. It's not about the boots. She reaches up and like claps you, like on your broad shoulders. She has to like get on her tippy toes a little and clap you. All right, go do what you gotta do. I'll be here. You'll know where to find me. Hey, and me and Koji, we'll survive this. Because that's what we do.
Sure you will. And especially with the carnival gone, I'm sure you'll be fine. If there's anything I can do to help rebuild the destruction of this place, just let me know.
Yeah, the carnival really did a number on the wildlife here. The flora and the fauna hasn't ever quite been the same since. But nature finds a way.
Nature finds a way. Asuhan, well, can't speak for it. Well, Asuhan learned how to use an axe from a very young age, and it's almost more of a tool than a weapon. We cut down the trees to build our ships. We use them as paddles when there's no wind in the sails, and we do so sustainably, using trees that have long since rotted, using trees that have knots in them that prevent them from growing. So, if there are trees that are too mangled to grow, or anything, I having some trouble with my magic right now, but once I get that fixed and sorted out, I would love to help with some of the nature magic I know to help regrow and rebuild.
I'd really appreciate that.
It's the least I can do.
You figure out your own shit first. Sounds like you and everyone else has some Paragon business to take care of. All of that's just it's beyond me. I'm just gonna take care of the woods best as I can, like I always have.
And hey, if Kane ever gives you trouble about revoking Clothau as a nature reserve,
Kane can shove their sparkly dance shoes up their butt. They don't know jack shit about Clothau, and I think they're smart enough to know that.
I don't think they'd want to touch this place after their experiences here.
No. And I've definitely overheard them say about how nature is gross and they don't like bugs, so I think Clothau's safe.
Classic manicured full face makeup. I make it a point not to wear makeup.
Somewhere in a rose
Unless-
bath, Kane sneezes.
But Well, make good use of your gift, and if you ever have a restless night, there's a small parcel in the bottom. It's the couple of leaves of an herb I got from a friend from down south. It should
Oh,
help you sleep.
nice. All right. Great. Thanks.
Probably not safe for birds, but
That's okay. Koji knows to stay away when I smoke. Maybe, maybe on Manaya's face, being like, "Wait, what?" Is that? Did you want to talk to anyone else aside from Talat, Manaya?
no.
For
I
now,
just really wanted that scene. I want to talk to Dr. Aluso, but I understand that they're busy with everything else.
sure.
That'll be later, probably on the
Okay.
road.
Totally, that's totally fine. Okay, so maybe on your face, Manaya, we're gonna cut away from Clothout Jungle and go to Dewey. Dewey, these next couple of days, what are you up to?
I think that the next couple days, Tonga has stayed in her room, and Dewey's unsuccessfully tried to like. He's been like, Tonga, please, can we talk? And like when she doesn't respond, he's resorted to like shoving flat foods under the door. So like various flatbreads and like
Like naan and like pizza slices.
And then at like he's worried about variety, and at one point he like freezes a bowl of soup into like a flat pan and then like shoves it under and then like shoves like a hot plate underneath.
I think what happens is like a game of air hockey. You shove it in and bam, it like shoots back out. But you have to like flutter up to like not get hit by the really hot plate.
Tonga, you have to eat, please.
I'm fine. Go away,
don't have to
Cardu. I
come
don't want
out.
to talk to you.
I think in between these unsuccessful attempts to get Tonga to come out or talk, he's gonna try and figure out what Sievert wanted to do with the giant runestone.
The Stormfang
Um,
Treaty.
Yes.
Okay. Are you gonna go down to Clothow as well and retrace your steps and try to go there, or are you gonna try to like knock on doors and ask around about it?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back down to the jungle and study a little more and kind of figure out like what could they possibly do with this.
Okay. Dewey, you make your way down to Clothow. You have really high intelligence, so I'm not even gonna make you roll for it. I think you can retrace your steps perfectly. And when you get to that clearing with the sewer water like gurgling up on that hill, it's not there anymore. The treaty is gone. There's just sort of a divot in the ground.
Well, this poses problems. Based on my time I spent in Raso, what kind of buildings would have doors large enough to like haul this thing through? I guess.
Before you ask that, do you want to maybe just like roll investigation on like the divot
Okay.
in the ground to see like how they might have done this?
Sure. Investigation. 18.
Okay, with an 18, it's odd. You don't see any drag marks. You don't see any wheel marks, right? It's not like they put this on like a cart and hauled it out, which makes you think like, did they magically? And you like think back to like the bandits, the thugs, the hired goons that Sievert had brought, and one of them had like a bag that was sort of like cinched at the neck, and the bag wasn't super big, and it sort of clicks for you. That was a bag of holding.
Cool. How do you bag of holding a thing that won't fit in the bag? Anyways. Okay. I guess I would talk to Kane, maybe? Who would probably know the most about secret like guilds like the Kusing Guild.
Okay. I think
and
you would
this
find
order that
Kane
Sievert-
in the throne room with the advisors, right? And Xiaohu as well. And like doing a lot of paperwork specifically to get ready for Atalanta's funeral, which will happen at the end of this week. So like maybe like the guards recognize you, so they let you through, and like you enter the throne room and it's been cleaned up, you know. You see at the end of this hall, Kane is sitting on the throne where Atalanta used to sit. There's like tables strewn all over the dais. You see those 3 advisors, the gnome, the halfling, and the human, all sort of like bickering and like shoving papers in Kane's face. Kane's got a big quill and looks really bored. It's just like initial sign, right? Like Xiaohu is nearby being like, do I have to sign? Is that no? Oh, okay, I'll just stand over here. So I was sort of like wringing rear paws, looking like really excited, just happy to be involved. And when you enter, Xiaohu goes,
Gardu, what's wrong? Did something happen?
No, not besides Tonga not answering me. Have you had any luck getting her out of the room?
She says she doesn't want to talk to anyone, least of all you.
Yeah. I do have something that may be a bigger problem, that I think Kane might know about. Kane, you have a moment?
the new champion, and this you recognize is Amar, the human, that had snapped at Manaia with like dark skin, like a beard. The new champion is really busy. Sorry, but they don't have any time to. It's okay, Amar. I welcome a break. It's almost time for my brunch break anyway. And like they clap and like servants appear with like brunch like in trays and like start setting it down like on nearby tables like for Kane. Kane goes, Xiaohu, do you want some of this? It's the best steak Florentine.
What's it? How do you even? No, no, thank you.
Okay, you're missing out. And Kane starts digging into the steak Florentine, and gestures for you to sit across.
Yeah, Dewey will sit down but not touch any of the extremely fancy food.
Yeah, and it's also all meat. Like, there's not a single vegetarian option here. You're like, oh, is that a leafy green? Oh, nope, that's just a mollusk that's been dyed green. There's nothing here for you to eat. Kane keeps offering you like this here, oyster with the pearl inside. Pearl's edible too.
I'm okay. I ate before. Tonka won't take any of the food that I've been, so I've just been eating it.
Let me guess what you ate. Pita pockets, flatbreads. Ugh. The carbs, Cardu. Think about the carbs.
There was soup too. Look, there's not a lot of things that'll fit under a door.
Soup is not sexy.
It's food. For my friend?
Mm.
Anyways.
You look like you used to wear cargo shorts.
Should we just...
How dare!
Dewey dies of a burn. Takes
Dewey just
44 burn
ignores
fire
that.
damage.
I need you to make a whiz save because that was vicious mockery. Just kidding. Just kidding.
He just ignores that. Like, he didn't hear it. So what do you know of White Dragonborn Sievert Criminal Guild?
White Dragonborn Sievert Criminal Guild. Oh, you mean the Chromatic Order?
Yes.
Oh, as far as I know, they're based out of the Godspine, though they have headquarters in Dabathati, parts of Kirtal, a little bit of Jukai. Why? They're another criminal organization. I'm familiar with many.
So
Their guiding philosophy is quite odd. They only worship Skad, which I don't agree with.
yeah, that checks out.
You know, because Skad, it's said, made the chromatic dragons, of which they venerate.
So I found a thing in the jungle. What was the name? Fuck. I didn't write it down. The treaty. That thing has immense power, and it was there, and I scared him off the first time, and now it's gone. And I have a feeling I know who carted it off.
Look, I don't know that much about jungles because they're gross and have bugs. But if what you're saying is true, then the chromatic order must be up to no good whatsoever. Unfortunately, Cardew, I'm stretched a little bit thin here in Raso. I'm not even past the signing phase, the inauguration phase of being a champion, and there's already a million things on my to-do list. What do you need from me?
I just want. Can you keep an eye out for any activity they're doing here? I know they're not based here. They're probably heading out, if they haven't already.
I will. If this is helpful to you, Cardew, I've heard rumors that their ultimate goal is to restore the Draconic Age. The age when dragons still walked, and Andake, and ruled over everything and everyone as tyrants. Obviously, that's a bunch of hogwash. It would never happen. But everyone said that about the Paragons and the Stranger War. And look, Paragons walk among us, so what do I know?
Yeah, knowing this Siebert dude used to be a friend of his. He's capable of. I wouldn't put that past. Wouldn't put that past him. So, thanks. And then Dewey grabs like a piece of paper off the table. He doesn't really know what's on it, but he starts scribbling down like instructions on how to attune like stones of far speech to tangas, just in case you ever need like guidance. She's smart, capable. She'll help you out. She's got good judgment.
Yes, the woman holed up in her room has good judgment, and the woman who freaking hates me. Okay, yep, I will keep this in mind. Kane rolls up the instructions and tucks it away into their robe. You're not sure where they took it away to, but it's gone when they like remove their hand. And they go, you know, I've always wondered if there was a chromatic order, why haven't I ever heard of a metallic one? If there is one, they're not very prominent or active in the criminal underground.
Say the line, Dewey.
What?
What?
You say it.
What?
I don't know what...
Lyra?
The Copper Stewards?
Are you gonna say anything about the Copper Stewards, Cardew? That you met all the way back in Arc 1, Episode 1?
What? Yeah, I haven't checked up on them in almost a year.
Okay, as our note keeper here,
Yes.
the Copper Stewards only worship Nectus, which is the other side, and they only venerate metallic dragons.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, great. How do you think these two... just a thought experiment. How do you think these two would interact if they ever came into contact with each other?
Okay, given what I know about criminals and power, they'd probably try to fucking kill each other, yeah. Or rather, let me amend that. The chromatic order would try to destroy the metallic order, which again, I'm not even sure if it exists. Oh, here's a thought. Maybe it doesn't exist because the chromatic order already destroyed them. That would make sense. Scott has always been the more... Kane makes a punching motion of the lovers.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about, Cardew, or are you just here to philosophize about dragons?
I mean, it's not... No, thank you for your time. Have a good brunch.
As you get up to leave, you hear Kane go, oh, Cardew, wait.
What?
Bros, right?
Yeah.
The pink-haired, listen, I'm, I didn't mean to. We were competing for the same thing. It was, and they sort of trail off.
I know. I don't like you, but we all do pretty terrible stuff under terrible influences. And I have to see the best in, I have to believe that's not who you are.
All right. Well, you probably have other places to go, people to see, horrible fashion choices to make, so don't let me hold you up any longer. Here, Xiaohu, try this bacon-wrapped scallop.
Yeah, Dewey gets out of there.
Okay. And maybe on that, we will cut to V. V, what have you been up to these past few days?
I think she'll start every morning trying to continue the conversation that was kind of happening with Scott, Nectis, even Ying's. She's trying to that moment where Ying was like about to tell her something is like stuck in her mind, and all she wants to do is like find out what that was about.
Okay. Do you want to try the communication mechanic?
Yep, I do.
With your god? Okay. So once per long rest, when you are in a quiet and safe place, you may attempt to commune with your gods. Say what guidance you seek and roll a d20. I think you said the guidance you are seeking. So roll that d20. About Ying, specifically, right?
Oh gosh. My first roll. I'm going to use a personal collective.
Okay.
No, personal inspiration. I got 3.
Okay. Sounds good.
Much better. 18.
18. Okay, on an 11 to 19, pick one complication.
Oh gosh. I'm going to go with the gods can't talk long.
Okay. Sounds good. What does it look like as you're trying to commune with Scott and Nectis?
V is like in her bedroom. She's woken up from the stranger dream, and once she's like resettled, she like goes off to the corner and sort of like sits cross-legged and very meditative, sits up straight and just is like closing her eyes. And maybe as she gets closer and closer to connecting, maybe a little bit of that stone in her chest starts to glow, just a little bit of that Kelly green.
I love that. And then we sort of like zoom in on your face and suddenly wind is rushing past you. Your eyes flutter open and you are halfway up a cliff. Grassy cliff, wind swept all around you. These beautiful clouds, Galtangers up there in the sun, right? This is not post-cataclysm now. And you see at the top of this cliff, you see a gold-skinned tiefling. As they turn, they're dressed in these beautiful iridescent robes. They turn and they smile. They see you. They've got these black scleras, long, like black hair, and you know, this is Ying. Ah, V, there you are. We were interrupted last time, weren't we? Listen, we don't have long. And you see the clouds begin to sort of like darken and start to cover the sun. Come. And they hold out a hand and gesture for you to join them at the top of the cliff.
V makes her way up and grabs him by the hand to pull up to right next to him.
And now you see what Ying was looking out over, which is 22 pillars, sort of across like a misty landscape. And each pillar has a different image carved into its face, carved all around it. And Ying says, well, listen, don't have long, but what I wanted to tell you is that's the gamble right down there, okay? You have to fall. And they gesture down into the misty depths at the bottom of the cliff. You don't know how deep down it goes. But if you jump down there with nothing but trust in your heart, you'll get the greatest blessing of Scott and Nectus that they can give.
Okay. V looks down and is like, little known fact about our friend V-Neck Scherzo, she actually does not like heights. So she looks down and it's a little vertigo. She's like, right. She just takes a few deep breaths and Scott and Nectus, and she goes ahead and leaps off and total arms out horizontal and whoosh down into the misty bottom.
Okay. You fall and it's a sense of vertigo and your gut is plummeting up and you just hear Yin go, "Good job, V," and their voice sort of drifts away. And you don't remember hitting a bottom, or hitting anything, but you do remember what you do feel is the sensation of your gut falling just slowly alleviates. And you're no longer upright, you're actually horizontal. And you're in some sort of watery, a shallow pool of something. When you open up your eyes, you see Andake's night sky just sprawled out in front of you, above your eyes. But instead of the constellation of the 8, there are 22 constellations that you've never seen before in your life. And you're sort of even though you're wet all around, there's water all around you. You could feel it sort of sloshing. You're not wet. And when you sit up, and you raise your hand, in your hand is a deck of cards. That ching that are sort of glowing gently, and the back of the deck of cards has sort of a intricate picture of Scott and Nectus intertwined. And the name just comes to your lips. You know what this deck of cards is called. I think it's in it's in the rules I sent you.
Yeah.
If you want to say its full name out loud, V.
Gamble, the deck of risk and reward.
There you go. You got your Paragon item. And I think you wake up. That's when you wake up, in the room, and you look down, and Gamble is in your hand.
Yeah. He's just gonna look at it, kind of flip through it much, but she's actually choosing not to look at the face of one of the cards. She keeps the back of the cards towards her. She just knows that when the time is right, the cards, she'll pull the right card. And then maybe she just sort of stretches out one hand with the card on it and looks at it for a second and just almost quickly shifts her hand as if she was doing a sleight of card thing, and it the deck just disappears in her hand.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You can call it and dismiss it at will. Perfect. And I want you to mark 1 on your destiny track. Okay.
All these fucking mechanics. What the hell are you two doing over there?
We are conniving and we are scheming. Yes, we are.
Wait, use this in real life somehow.
I know. Oh my god, I'm so excited about this deck. I'm so excited for V to use it next arc. Okay. V, was there anything else you wanted to do during your individual scene?
I think in the coming days, V's just gonna take Rev, and with this, I don't even know if this needs to be a scene, but I think V will just kind of take Rev on a date. Perhaps there's an entertainment area of the city where they can walk.
Your options are a gambling house, right? Like a hookah lounge, like a theater, for a play, or a dance theater. Which of these appeal to you? Also, a fighting pit.
Wow. I mean, I know we would all think she'd want to go to the gambling hookah lounge, but I actually think she'd go to the sort of the dance hall theater place.
Okay, is it like you're dancing with her?
Yeah.
Like a social dance hall? Okay. Yeah. I think we cut to like a hall and there's like a bunch of couples and like, you know, like parents and children, you know, and like siblings, like all around, just friends and family all around. And there's, I think, like a band is playing, like banging on drums. There's trumpets, there's guitars, there's like lutes, you know, there's like instruments from all 8 of Andake's great nations, right? Playing like this, like, I think like it's like a slow song right now. Right, so a bunch of couples are, you know, like on the floor, and like everyone, everywhere you're dancing, and like people are like, oh, like whispering and like looking at you, right, and like, oh, you know, like talking, and like I think a couple of people have already come up to you asking for like your autograph, you know, asking, you know, for you to cure them of illness or to like perform miracles, you know what I mean? Like, but at this point, like it's just you and Rev. They're giving you some privacy, like you're just dancing together as this like beautiful like slow song is playing.
And I think actually, the one question that pops in my head: who is leading?
Roll a d20. 11 and above
Okay.
is Rev. 10 and under is you.
11.
Rev. Rev is leading, very, very like confidently leading you. You know, he's just
Perfect.
sort of like swaying back and forth in this like slow waltz.
Yeah. I don't think we need too much of a conversation. I just want this really nice moment. I think actually the one thing, as the song is coming to an end, V is just gonna whisper into Rev's ear, will you do me a favor? Will you call me Vasante from now on?
Of course I will. It's a beautiful name.
And then just fade. There's a kiss and a fade.
Obviously. A kiss and a fade. Wow, I love that. Okay, that feels perfect. That feels like a perfect ending to these individual scenes.
A very homosexual ending to these scenes.
Damn, these bitches gay.
Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah, good for them. Okay, maybe at the end of this week, Oka, Manaia, Dewey, and V. I think we find the 4 of you in the heroes' quarters, right, in the common space, where Dr. Luso is there. It has like a map spread out on like a table, and is clearly like charting various paths to various places, and sort of like muttering and like writing notes to himself. And I think it's time. For the 4 of you and Dr. Luso to decide what to do next. So as the 4 of you are there, maybe you're also poring over the map along with Dr. O. What do the 4 of you say to each other?
I think Oka has been rather ghostly the last few days, like leading up to this point. Like they've been either out or not around or like holed up in their room reading books. You know, they kind of have just made themselves scarce, and they're watching like from a slight distance, kind of like chewing on the edge of their knuckle a little bit. And they look really nervous.
I think I speak for all of us when I say we need a rest. Doctor, would you mind if we stop by your cabin before going to the next nation?
Certainly not. Yes, we can definitely rest as long as we need until the next assignment. Perhaps we can even go to the hot springs again, or Oka, I know there was some pressing matter. We talked about a couple weeks back.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we should go to Tsulong.
Okay, are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. I have to. And they kind of gesture to the sword that's maybe like laying out flat over their knees. Maybe they were polishing it but got distracted. I have to give this back. And I need Rev to come too.
Of course, but I need to be getting back to the court soon as well. Why do you need me?
Because my mother is dying, and I can't let her soul go nowhere. Please. Please, I'm calling in a favor.
Okay. I'll come. I'll meet you at the northern border of Toulon after you travel back to Dr. Aluso's and rest. I have to go back to the court in the meantime, take care of some issues up north. We'll rendezvous at the border in, say, a couple weeks' time.
2 weeks should be enough.
There's
Wait.
not. Maybe 3.
Wait. Yeah, because it takes, 2 weeks to get to
It takes
Dr.
2 weeks
Luso's?
to get to Dr. O's and maybe like half a week to get to the border of Toulon.
Okay.
Or actually, let me look at my map. Let's see.
About the
Let's
same
consult
distance,
this map
isn't it?
here. It is. To get to Dr. Luso's is 2 weeks, and then it's like a week to get to the border.
Okay,
Yeah,
you can
it
go
would
into
be,
the
it would be about a
Godspine?
week. Yeah, because the Heavenly Road cuts through the
Oh,
Godspine
right.
in one area,
Yep.
and if we take that area, then it should be okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I think we're good. So 3 weeks, let's say. Maybe like 3.5 weeks, so you have half a week to rest. Okay.
Let's make it 4. We're going to need the whole week.
Yeah, okay, 4 weeks. That's almost an entire month. Okay, that's
Alright.
fine. That's fine, though.
Later this month, then. No, beginning of next month.
See you in the winter, I guess.
Winter? Is it
Hold
not
on.
still...
Hold on. Out of character. Let me just look. I have dug myself into a hole with this fucking calendar system. Okay, just give me a moment. Let's just
I could've
retcon.
sworn-
No, it's gonna be late autumn. It'll be like mid to late autumn by
yeah.
the time you meet up. Yeah. All right. When the leaves are starting to fall even more, let's meet at the border of Toulon.
We're gonna need a plan. I can't just waltz in there all, But, V, you're a con woman after my own heart. And I'm sure you'd love a 100,000 gold bounty if you bring me in. Make it look convincing.
I certainly, I was beginning to think I'd have no more fun anymore now that I'm a Paragon, but I would absolutely love to try to collect that reward on you.
The only way we'll be able to get in all the way is if you take me in as a bounty hunter.
Will they not take you at the border?
No. The reward is issued from the throne, not from the border.
So we'll still have to find a way to sneak across border eventually. And good enough, you have a good friend V who may have some connections to get us across the border.
And then sneak you back? Are you leaving us? Are you gonna stay there? Doesn't seem like they're particularly excited to have you return.
Well, loud exits are our specialty, I suppose.
I have some unfinished business. A few things to tie up, and then we can go. And Doc, you said that there was no news from Toulon. Nothing?
Well, there is something. They are, when Squeak and I traveled down here, they were in the process of closing up their borders. Completely sealing them up. The Heavenly Road, as we know, passes through Toulon. We won't be able to take the same path back. We'll have to ride the border between Toulon and Talmud to get back home. Or it's better if we just cut through Talmud to get back to my homestead. But the only extra news that I've gotten is that they're closing up their borders fully. Not even for trade.
Maybe they've found their Paragon then. If they're not experiencing any problems, then
That's a fucking horrific thought.
Why is that? It's one less god and person we have to find.
What paragon would close their borders in a time of need and not reach out and try to help?
Can't assume every paragon will be on our side initially.
Or maybe they're closing up. I can just see it. They're closing everything up because they don't want to admit how bad it is. Another option. They're either trying to keep something in or something out.
Shenzi is god of dreams and knowledge, right? What if there's some sort of eternal sleep spreading, but it hasn't quite affected the whole nation yet, and they don't want it spreading out?
If there is, the kingdom is being very, very good at disguising that. I haven't heard even a single whisper in all of my gossip networks.
Looks like with every other time we've encountered a god shard, we'll have to play it by ear, make it up as we go. But doing some preparation ahead of time is never a bad idea. We'll rendezvous at Dr. Luce's homestead, rest up, gear up, and make our way to Tsulam.
I got us something. V, I know how much you've been complaining about having to walk everywhere. So I took the liberty of purchasing us a wagon.
It wasn't just a wagon you purchased. Okay.
Well, that's my thing. And this is for everyone.
What's your thing?
Nothing.
Then what's driving the wagon?
Well, we'll decide what to pull the wagon later.
It's an elk. Oka got an elk. It's downstairs. It's in the cave. It's in the stables.
Squeak, you really didn't have to blow up my spot.
Well, I will, because that elk tried to go on me. I went down there to try to give it some feed, and it tried to go on me.
It was sniffing you, Squeak. They sniff you. It has horns on its... You just have to watch out.
The elk you got is bad-tempered. It's gonna kill someone one day.
You know who else is bad-tempered, Squeak? You wanna know who else is bad-tempered?
That's right, you bonded with an elk on your way to the border, didn't you?
Okay, so I didn't want to leave the elk behind. Okay, yes, we get it. It's mine now, okay? And I bought us a wagon. You're welcome.
Oka cares.
I do
Oka
not.
has a pet.
I do not.
Oko is almost getting a little bit better at lying.
You know, I meant to tell you, actually. I did a really good job in the library when we went.
The library.
I mean, they'll believe
Wait, you went to the library without me?
I told you I was going. You were too busy moping out in front of Tonga's door.
It's hard to push, like, baklava through a door.
Speaking of which, how is she?
I don't know. She won't talk to me?
I'm fine, and I can hear everything you're saying. Muffled through the door.
Tonga, I miss your beautiful face.
Your wonderful inventions?
Stop it. You're not going to get me to come out there. I still disagree with everything.
I disagree as well, but we had no choice. The people decided, and if we went against their wishes, you know what would have happened.
I know. That doesn't mean I can't not like what's going on and have feelings about it.
It's okay to have feelings. And
I've been asking for you to talk about them.
Well, I'm not going to talk about it now. Everyone's out there.
It's okay to have feelings in the now, and it's okay for them to linger. But sometimes you have to set them aside to move forward.
I think it's just silence from Tonga's door. And Xiaohu like peeks rear head out from rear door.
Are the 5 of you, done? Oh, sorry, Squeak. 6. Oh, hi, Rev. Are the 7 of you done using the space?
Do you need it?
I was going to, practice my, well, there's a big ceremony with Atalanta's funeral procession, and I'm kind of rusty at dancing, so.
Right. We should stay for that. We owe her that much.
Certainly do.
Well, it looks like we have a plan all squared away. We will go back to my place and then rest there for a week. Rendezvous at the border of Tulong, the northern border, where Rev will meet us. V, I assume you have some criminal contacts. Maybe you can tap in to try to get us past that heavily guarded border. Oka, we can definitely pretend to be bounty hunters trying to bring you in for bounty, but that's quite risky. They might just take you and leave the rest of us at the border. And that is the last thing we want. We don't want to get separated here.
I trust you to spring me if I need it.
That gives us, Rev, that gives you a few weeks to get back to the court, sort out the things there. I'll understand if you're late. I'm sure there's a lot to catch up on.
No, it's fine. I'll be there. Promise is a promise. Okay. Well, Xiaohu will clear the space soon as you want, and so you can practice your dancing. Any other articles of business that I should be aware of?
Doctor, did you leave your side of the scrying bowl at your place?
I did. It's mounted into my wall.
Do you think we could talk to anyone who's there? Or is it in your study?
It is in my study, but it makes a noise and it starts glowing when it's activated. If you're trying to get in contact with Napua and Kahailani, I can certainly set that up for you. Oka, I believe you have the other half of the scrying bowl?
I do.
Okay. Good. Then maybe before attending Atalanta's funeral, we'll square away the last few pieces of business here, attend the funeral, and then head north. Does it sound good to everyone?
Manaia gives a solemn nod.
He also nods.
Dewey gives a thumbs up.
Does anyone want to come see my elk?
Right. Yes. You get an elk? I want something to ride. That
And maybe
owlbear
on
was less than ideal.
and maybe on that, we can end the session there for tonight. And we will be back next week with Arc 3, Episode 15, where we tie up final bits of business here in Raso, attend Atalanta's funeral procession, and then travel back to Dr. Lucis for a much-deserved break. And that will be the end of Arc 3. Our next episode is going to be a heist/smuggling Arc 3 interlude as we break into Arc 4. Oh my goodness, Arc 4, the midpoint of our campaign. Isn't that so exciting? What? Some two long adventures.
We're halfway there.
Oh.
Living on a Paragon prayer.
Yeah, let's not get copyright struck here. So that is going to be next Saturday, August 14th at 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time. We will see you right here. Thank you to everyone who subbed and helped us hit that monologue redemption really, really appreciate it. Everyone who's tuned in. I've been Connie, your game master, pronouns they, he, and she. I am by Connie Chong on Twitter, Itch, Patreon. Pledge to my Patreon. I've got fun goodies, GM tips, and stuff like that. You can even hire me as a GM. If I get up to 50 patrons, of which I'm almost halfway there, then I'll open up another paid GMing slot, which selling like hotcakes. So pledge and help me get there. With that, I'm going to pass along introductions to Lyra.
Hello, everyone. My name's Lyra. I use they, she pronouns. I'm the artistic director of Shout, Minnesota's trans and gender diverse voices. I got it right that time. An all trans, mostly me, but also leadership team led choral group based in the Twin Cities. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Shout Minnesota. Other than that, I stream here on Twitch almost as often as Michael Liu's uploads a video on YouTube. Which is to say not very often, but you can come check me out, throw me a follow at Rika Honda. That's Rika, and Honda like the car company. And with that, I'll pass introductions to Elika.
Hello, my name is Erica. I played Vinox Churzo, and you can find me here on Twitch at Erica New Girl. My next stream is Monday afternoon, 2:30 p.m. Central. I'm probably playing the remaster Resident Evil. I think I'm getting close to being done. Who knows? Or I'll just do art, whichever comes first. But come check me out, and you can find me Erica New Girl on all social media. Please come say hi to me on whatever platform. And with that, I'll pass it to Max.
Hello, I'm Max. I go by the they, them pronouns. I play Cargo Shorts apologist Dewey Quirk. You can find me once in a while on Twitter at Starchmonger. I'm not super active on social media. But yeah, come follow me there. I'll pass it to C.
Hi all, my name's Sia. I use they, them pronouns. I played Okahie, whoever they are. You can find me doing lots of very gay, very trans art on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr at pi_art. You can find I'm working right now on a huge piece with all our favorite NPCs from Arc 3 plus Paragon V redesign, all of which should be coming out in the next few weeks or so. So stay tuned to those channels to figure those things out. Also, I do occasionally stream my art on Twitch, so you can find that at pi_sharp right here. And that's really it for me. I'm kind of laying low, just drawing lots and lots of very gay art. And with that, I'll pass it back to Connie for our raid.
Fantastic. We are rating Dicey Amazons. They're an all women of color, queer and trans led, a TTRPG variety stream channel. So toss them a follow, toss them a sub if you can. Use our raid message in chat. It's translators plane shifting into your stream with 3 Manaia loves after that. So we're going to raid now. We love you all so much. We are going to see you next Saturday, August 14th at 3 p.m. US Central Time. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in and supporting us. We love you. We hope that our Paragons enjoyed some of your OC cameos in the very opening spiel here. With that, we'll see you next week. Speesh.